The other thing too that I think helped me was I go back to the web presence. When you take away the home shows and you take away, a lot of the festivals and all of these events that people, some of my competitors, that's where their primary lead source was. Everybody was forced to go online, and there I was, sitting and waiting. And I think it really helped me get the pie is definitely bigger, but I think I'm also getting a bigger piece of it.
This is the Wealthy Contractor Podcast, brought to you by G4 Marketing. Interviews with today's top home improvement entrepreneurs about marketing, sales, money, mindset, and lifestyle. Now, here's your host, Brian Kaskavalciyan.
All right, everybody, welcome to another episode of the Wealthy Contractor Podcast. This is Brian Kaskavalciyan with G4 Marketing Group. And today's interview is with Steve Glaze. What a cool name, Steve Glaze. It's like two syllables, both names.
Right.
Steve Glaze. So Steve is out of Kansas City. We're going to hear his story in just a minute, but I want to make sure that everybody gets a copy of this book. Very important book. It's called The 7 Secrets to Becoming a Wealthy Contractor. You can get a free copy. How do you get a free copy? Basically, I buy the book, you pay shipping and handling. So just go to thewealthycontractor.com, thewealthycontractor.com, get a copy of the book, and in it, you're going to learn a lot about how to make more money, how to take more time off, and really how to take control of your business so that you can use it for what it's intended for. And what is it intended for? It's intended to be a tool for helping you live whatever ideal lifestyle you have in mind. All right? So go get a copy of The 7 Secrets to Becoming a Wealthy Contractor. All right, Steve, welcome. Thank you for being here. We are going to talk about, this is interesting. So I'm going to be completely transparent like I always am. Me and Steve met 8 minutes ago, which is always kind of interesting. And within 3 minutes of talking to him, he's a really interesting dude. And I told him to stop talking because I wanted to make sure I got it on the recording. So give everybody, let's do the typical, give everybody the 2-minute version of who you are. Tell us a little bit about your business, and then we'll dive into talking about internet.
Absolutely. Thanks, Brian. Thanks for having me. Basically, I grew up, my father owned a roofing and remodeling business, and I can remember as far back as when I was a sophomore in high school going and, started knocking doors in the summers, and from that point then I was writing, giving estimates, and by the time I graduated high school, I was managing crews and, running sales calls and all of this. Went to college, but still in the summers, I would work for my dad's roofing business, and we chased hailstorms, throughout the Midwest. Kansas City gets hit quite a bit, but when it didn't hit here, we'd find ourselves in Iowa or Oklahoma or somewhere, and did that for a long time with my dad's business, and then decided, as I started raising a family, I didn't want to travel as much. And so about 4 years ago, my wife and I started Smart Exteriors, and it just focuses here in Kansas City on, roofing, siding, windows, the exterior of the home, gutter guards, that whole thing. And, we've been doing really well. So we just focus on, expanding our offering as opposed to expanding geographically. And primarily our number one thing that we sell is siding. And then after that, I would say gutter guards, and then roofing. Unless there's a hailstorm, we do more. But that's pretty much where we're at today.
Awesome. So the first thing I said to Steve, well, not the first thing, but one of the first things I said to him within that 3 minutes was, damn, your website's cool. He's got a really, really cool website. It's just for context, don't go ripping him off, but it's smartextpros.com. And so let's start with that, Steve. So I said to you, hey, you have a really cool website. And you said,
I said that that was my whole plan, was to build a foundation. The first, 3 or 4 years of business is, build the foundation. And by doing that, I mean by having a web presence and, reviews and everybody goes online, and checks you out before they call you out there. And so that's where I started. This is probably the third version of my website. It's like when I first started, the whole idea was, well, we got to get something up just to be credible. Just so when somebody Googles you or somebody types it in, they can just see something. And so we did the first version of that, and it looked very similar to what you see today. So it was a nice website, but it wasn't fully optimized and things like that. So then I got into AdWords, because right when you first start a business, the first thing I do is, okay, well, now I need leads, right? I need somebody to go talk to. And so, we started doing like the home advisors and the, Google AdWords and things like that. When you get into Google AdWords, you realize that, conversion optimization is very, very important, and it's very, very expensive to not. And so the version 2 of my website was, let's optimize for conversion. So we did that. And then version 3.
Hold on. I want you to tell people what that means, because this is critical. I mean, I was in my local mastermind group yesterday, and we had a big conversation with one of the guys about this yesterday. So let's talk a little bit about what that is, and then I'll make sure that we loop.
No, what that means is, you can have a website that looks nice and has pictures and gives credibility to, okay, yeah, they've done some jobs and, whatnot, but there's not a real specific path that you lead the customer down to filling out a form or calling you and converting. And that's really what you're looking for. Is we want people to go to your website, but what you really want them to do is call you and ask for an estimate. And so you've got to lead them down that path. And so that's what conversion optimization is it's basically, right off the bat, if they just want, you're asking for them to fill out a form and give you their information so you can contact them. Then, if they don't do that, they scroll down a little bit. It's like, okay, credibility, then ask again type of thing. And, you're just basically walking them down that path. And this is what I want you to do. And the steps of the sale is, how easy it is. And just getting people the direction to do what it is you want them to do.
Yeah. And if I can add something to that, there's another level to that too, which is, what happens once the form comes into the office? Because it's one thing to convert. So when he's talking about conversion optimization, my guess is, just looking at this for 2 minutes, is you guys are doing testing, tweaking. You're looking at, does this work? Does that work? What works better? See, the mistake that a lot of people make with this is they just put up a form, they put up a website, and then that's it. And then they drive traffic to it, and they wonder, why am I spending so much money and not getting results? Well, because you got to test. You got to see, how do I get more people to fill out the form? How do I get my conversion from click to form fill from 10% to 14%, from 14% to 22%? The other thing with that too is, how do I get, once that form comes in, who in my office is accountable and responsible for converting that into an appointment, right? Because
Absolutely.
It's getting a form fill is fine, it's great, but you have to begun at that point,
right? And we found that you have to reach back out to that person to get the absolute best chance of converting that to an actual appointment within 5 minutes of the time that they place that, fill out that form, push the send button. And so we're right now doing it, typically in 2 to 3 minutes. But with that first 5 minutes, after that, you lose them. It's amazing. If you call them back an hour later, they're on to something else. You get their voicemail. They're not thinking about it, and they kind of already moved on. They just don't convert as well.
Do you mind my asking what an average click cost is?
I would say, gosh, it depends, but on average, because they go anywhere from $60 for the most expensive one to $5, so probably in the 20-30 range.
Okay, so think about this, guys. And this is why this is such an important conversation. So
Right.
$20 just for a click,
Mm-hmm.
20, that's it. You just spent $20 and now you sent somebody to your website. Now, if your
Mm-hmm.
conversion on that's 1 out of 10 to get a form, that form fill has just cost you $200. 20 times 10 people coming to the site. $200. If you, and I'm glad you said the 5-minute thing, but you're right. In fact, the higher percentage of people will respond within 60 seconds,
Mm-hmm.
2 minutes at the most, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you guys getting on that within the first 2 to 3 minutes is very smart,
Mm-hmm.
because you're absolutely right. People don't realize, oh, I'll go out and I'll work all day, and then I'll come home at the end of the day, or I'll go back to the office at the end of the day, and I'll call the people that form filled. No, they're gone.
Right.
They went to Steve, because Steve called them back in 2 minutes. He's already set an appointment with them. You're done. You're toast at that point, right?
Right. You know, and that's the whole thing, especially when you're new and you're doing this in your one-man band or whatever. You know, you start spending this money and you realize I'm not going to spend all this money to have my phone ring and then not answer it.
Right.
You know, I know so many guys that they literally don't answer their phone. They wait, they make everybody leave a message, and then at the night they go through their messages, fill out who they're going to call back, and try and chase them, and then they're getting like 5 to 10% of the people that call them even.
Right.
And so when you start realizing you're spending how much, like you said, how much money you're spending. I mean, when you're doing AdWords, for example, it's very expensive, and it's really expensive if you don't know what you're doing. In fact, it's prohibitive expensive if you don't know what you're doing. And so you have to not only get as many clicks as you can, but then you've got to turn those clicks into appointments, and then you better learn how to close too.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's good to have, this is something that now you want to pay somebody to do. I don't know if you're paying somebody to do it or if you're doing it yourself, but this is something that you want to pay somebody to do, more than likely. But there are good people, and there are, just like with anything else, you got good people and you got not so good people. Okay. So we talked about your version 2, you focused on conversion optimization. Third version, you were starting to talk about.
Yeah, then basically the third version is the search engine optimization. Then you start playing now I've got the leads, everything's coming in, everything's going good. You start playing the long game a little bit, and you start realizing that that's really where it's at, because, when you do in the AdWords, I always say if things got really bad and, we have a bad month, we couldn't afford advertising, we'd turn it off tomorrow. If you're doing AdWords, you're screwed, because there's nothing left to do. There's nobody calling. But if you're building that reputation, and you're building that online presence, and you're doing it organically, if you have a couple bad months and you had to turn it off, you're still gonna have the phone's still gonna ring, still coming in, and it's gonna take a little bit for that to taper off. And so that's what we try to do.
Yeah. No, I love too that this is one of the comments I made is, we do at G4, we're all about Google reviews. I mean, we drive, thousands of Google reviews for our clients. And I'm looking at your Google reviews. You've got 45 reviews. You're at 4.9 stars. And so probably what happens, and you're a siding company, so probably you also get a lot of organic through this Google Local, because you're probably in some searches, just because of the keywords and all of the back end that you're doing on this. Mm-hmm. If somebody types in best siding Kansas City, mm-hmm. or best siding company Kansas City, you're probably likely showing up in that Google 3-pack somewhere.
Yeah.
And that's a free lead, right? Mm-hmm. And yes. That's because you have good reviews.
Right. Yeah, it is. And those reviews, I had 5.0, and then I've got one guy, the only non 5-star review I got was a guy that called in, and we told him we couldn't do he wanted a little repair on his soffit. And I said, we just can't get to it right now. We're just too busy with other projects. So he left me a poor review because I wouldn't give him an estimate. But you have to prepare for that, I guess. I was a little taken back when I lost my perfect 5.0 rating.
But here's something though. And you know what? It's funny because I say this to people all the time, and yet I kind of break the rule a little bit. But at G4 Marketing, we've got like 100 and I don't know, I think we're at 120 reviews, and we're at 5 stars. And I say to people all the time, you're kind of your sweet spot, especially for home improvement, large volume, your sweet spot's kind of 4.6 to 4.8. You want to have a couple of those in there, right? Just because it's like, you could point to it and it's real, and you can like use it in your sales presentation and be proactive about it. And everybody should be using their reviews if they're good. If they're not good, you should make them good and get a lot of them. But you should be using reviews in your sales presentations, which I would imagine you guys are. And you want to point out the fact, like if you have something bad, or if somebody did leave you a bad review, you want to get to them and point it out yourself, rather than let them find it when you leave. Right. So if they've not already done their research on you, and they sign a contract with you, and you leave, and they're like, "Oh crap, what did I just do? I just signed a $15,000 contract. Let me go look for any reason to cancel with these people," right? And then they go and they see that 1 4-star review, and they use that as an excuse. But if you bring it up first, right, you can kind of offset that.
Yeah, and it just goes back to why it's so important to harvest the reviews and the 5-star reviews, so that when inevitably you ever do get the one that just you could make the customer happy and they leave a bad review, you've got 50 other ones that to offset it.
We're going to stop here for a quick break. 2020 has been full of changes and opportunities. One of these opportunities is that you now get to attend Accelerate Live 2021 from the comfort of your home or office for the first time ever. 2021 is the year that's going to set you apart from your competition, and this event delivers the ideas, strategies, and tools that will help you achieve more high-quality leads, more sales, and more profits fast in 2021. But don't just take it from us. Hear what these attendees have to say.
If you want to be successful and you want to learn new things that are going to help your business grow, that are going to help you become a better leader, who are going to help you have more freedom as a business owner, you're definitely going to want to attend.
If they want to light their business on fire, this is the event to do it with.
So go to accelerateevent.com today. Attendance is extremely limited, and the price is going to go up the closer we get to the event. So get registered at accelerateevent.com at the best price available today, and set your business up for a successful 2021. And now, back to the Wealthy Contractor Podcast.
Absolutely. So cool. So that is some good. Anything else on the internet that you?
Well, I think it's just no matter what advertising you do, as you move into to radio or TV or direct marketing, it all drives everybody back to your website. And so that's why you've got to start there. You've got to have it optimized. You got to have a good presence. You got to have the reviews. I think before you get into all that stuff, because it just, that stuff's expensive as well, and they're all coming back to your website, and that's where it determines if they look at it and they say, you know what, I think I'll keep looking, or it just reaffirms everything that they are looking for and wanting to hear and find, and it just, success builds upon success. And so that's why I just think it's the most important thing, especially for a new business to get going.
Yeah, absolutely. So what's great is you've got these 5-star, for all intents and purposes. I mean, you've got all 5-star reviews. Correct. And you said something interesting before we turned on the recording, was that you want to grow through services, additional services, rather than geographically. So basically what you're saying is, when I get a customer, I want to get that customer to come back and buy more stuff from us, or I just want to cast a wider net so I can get more customers coming in. Can you talk a little bit about that strategy and where it came about, and what you're doing?
Yeah, because like I said, my background was in the roofing, hailstorm, storm damage repair, background, and so we're basically selling a roof and maybe some gutters. And so what I wanted to do is, especially in Kansas City, roofing is great when there's a hailstorm, but then the 3 years in between every hailstorm, you struggle. And so what I meant by that was, is so now we offer siding, we offer gutter guards, we offer windows, we you even do decks now. And so we have all these different services so that even when there's not a hailstorm, we've got something to sell. And actually, like I said, siding is our biggest portion of our business. But with that, we do a lot of gutter guards, decks, windows, and things like that. I mean, we're working on a project now that the customer wants everything, and so we
Nice.
do it all.
Those are the best.
Right.
Are you cross marketing? So if you get a customer that buys siding, do you have a system in place now to keep going back to that customer to ask them or say to them, hey, we also do windows, we also do roofing, we also do.
Yeah, so we do. Everybody gets an email from us at least 4 times a year, so that they kind of keep up with what we're doing. We'll run different specials and things like that. But like with the siding, every time we do even provide a siding estimate, we provide them with a quote for our gutter guards, because that's something that we feel like most people need. And so we get a lot of sales on that people were not even looking for gutter guards, but once we show it to them, and then they're like, yeah, let's do that too. And so that's, as far as cross marketing, we do some of that on our we have some direct mail pieces that we do that on the front is like all about the gutter guards, but then you flip it over on the back and it shows picture of siding, roofing, to let them know that we do these other things as well. So we do a little bit of cross marketing.
Yeah, it's smart. Different people have different philosophies about this, right? And you have to choose what's right for you. So there's some companies like yours that offer a wide range of product and they can get it done. They can do it. Whereas there's others that focus. They're just doing windows, or they're just doing bathrooms, or they're just doing whatever, roofing.
Yeah, and I do. I see the advantages of both. And for me, it's about it's about we don't do anything we can't do well. I mean, that's why decks is something that we've just started doing this year, because I didn't feel like I had the crews and the expertise to do it well. And so I would get customers, they would ask me, they're like, well, hey, when you're doing my siding, can you do my deck too? And I would have to tell them no until you just feel comfortable you can do it and do it well. Because again, the reputation is everything. The 5-star reviews, it's not worth it to me. It's not worth taking on an extra, project just to not perform well. So I think that's the thing, is you can't just go out there and say yes to everything. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that people ask us to do, like, can you do this addition? Can you build me a sunroom? We have to say no, 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 no. But as we, each year, well, that was kind of what I was doing, is each year just trying to add, one thing and get good at it, and then kind of grow that way. But there's definitely something to just being the best, like Leaf Filter, for example. I mean, they're $100 million a year company and all they sell is gutter guards, so there's something to that. Sure. I get it.
Like you said, I mean, they both work. But the key is, if you are going to do multiple things, make sure you do them well.
Absolutely.
Don't take on things that you do well. Yeah, that's cool. So how have things been for you? So we're recording this in the middle of September. How has this year been going for you? Are you doing well? How are you doing?
We're doing well. We're well ahead of where we were last year. I was concerned, obviously, with everybody when, all the lockdowns and COVID and all this craziness happened. But I was pleasantly surprised that, we actually got busier in the spring than we were last year, and it carried through the summer. I would say the fall, right? It's kind of weird, because usually as soon as the kids go back to school at the beginning of September is when, like, our busiest season ever. And we're not as busy as we were in the spring right now, but still the same as last year. So, I mean, things are going well. I was pleasantly surprised. I think that's industry wide. I mean, I think the people I've been talking to, I think industry wide, everything is up this year.
Yeah, this has been, I mean, it's been ugly and bad, and there's a lot of there are a lot of people that are hurting out there, but this has been an absolute boom for home improvement. I mean, all of my clients are as busy as they've
Yes.
ever been. So it's been awesome.
Yeah.
Business wise, it's been awesome.
Again, the other thing too that I think helped me was I go back to the web presence. When you take away the home shows and you take away, a lot of the festivals and all of these events that people, some of my competitors, that's where their primary lead source was. Everybody was forced to go online, and there I was, sitting and waiting. And I think it really helped me the pie is definitely bigger, but I think I'm also getting a bigger piece of it.
Yeah, good. So this has been really good. I guess let's see, what else can I ask you, man? Doing some good stuff over there. Oh, you know what I did want to ask you about? I know we can wrap it up from there. So you're using a strategy that I've used for 20 something years, ever since I first discovered it. And that is using a book to market your business. So it's interesting, ever since I learned the strategy in 1996, I've used that strategy in every business that I have started or had at the time. And so you have a book on your website, and you actually make it available at Amazon. And so what prompted you to do that? Why did you write a book?
Well, for a couple reasons. One, I did a lot of research. If you notice, look at our, like for siding, for example, a lot of companies, this goes back to a lot of companies will sell just one product, that's like, we're steel siding and this is it. And everybody else is terrible and you got to have steel siding. So I'm not that way. I went with, there's 3 or 4 that I like, but I did a lot of research on all the different products, and some, are better in some situations than others and whatnot. And so I learned a lot about the different siding products out there, and I reviewed the warranties as what's real, what's not, and and so I felt like I had a lot of information that people weren't putting out there. You see it on a sales brochure, but what's really in the warranties and what's it really cover, and all of that, and plus my experience in talking with installers and things. And so I felt like I had something to offer. And then the guys that do my a lot of my SEO type stuff were just like, that there would be a great opportunity to do that and get it on Amazon, and have Amazon, linking back to your website, never a bad thing either. And so we decided to pursue that. And it's been, originally I wasn't sure anybody was ever going to read it. I just thought I'll put it up there and, SEO purposes and credibility and all of this. But it's crazy. This year I go out to a customer's house, and they told me that they had read my book, and that's why I'm there. And I was like, wow, this is pretty cool. They didn't get any other estimates.
Yep.
It was like the second largest project we've ever done, and then ended up getting the neighbor, and then his brother. So it's been great. It's been something I'm glad I did.
Yeah. So it's interesting because years ago, I have an amazing client that's been with us for 10 years now, Ari Hausch and family, Ari's Roofing. And quite a few years back, I was in their office, and we were talking about challenges for the next year and blah, blah, blah. And I said to Ari's one of those clients, he's amazing. If I recommend something, he says, okay, Brian, just go ahead and do it. Doesn't ask me how much, doesn't just, okay, let's do it. Right. And so what we did was we put together a book. There he is. Very
awesome.
It's specifically for roofing. It's called The Informed Consumer's Guide to a Successful Roofing Project. And we put this book together for him, and the same things started to happen. Like, they were going to a home show, and it's a long story, but basically they just go to the home shows just to go and see clients and this and that. I'm like, no. We were almost done with the book, almost done. And I said, Ari, I'm going to take what we have right now. I'm going to print out some copies, and I'm going to send them to you just so that you could show people, hey, I have a book coming out. This woman walks up to the booth, and they start talking. She's the head of a huge HOA. They're looking for a roofer. He says, hey, let me get you a copy of my book. And she laughs, right? your book. You're a roofer.
Right.
Why would you have a
Right.
book? You're a siding guy. Why would you have a book? He goes and he brings her a copy of the draft copy of the book, gives it to her. Ends up a couple months later, ends up getting that job, $1.5 million. Now, was it because of the book? No. Did the book help? Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It completely set them apart from everybody else. And it's amazing. And it's such a powerful strategy. And what you said, that it was a huge job, right? The person that
Yep.
said, oh, I read your book, it was a huge job. And they didn't look at anybody else,
Nope.
right? Because they're with the guy.
Right.
Here, this is the guy, right? He wrote the book, so he's the guy,
Right.
right? And then, of course, when you performed and you did what you said you were going to do, they told their neighbors, and you got the neighbors and all of that. It is such a powerful marketing strategy, and people just don't use it. We use it for lead gen and for sales conversion. So if you're using it for lead gen, like you have it on your website, you fill out a form. I would imagine you probably send them a PDF of it,
Yep.
and then you follow up with them, right?
Absolutely.
It's amazing. I mean, it's such an amazing strategy. We do this for roofers. It's one per market, obviously. You don't want to have
Right.
one. We do all of it for them. And last year we created a window one too. So we've got a window book, we've got a roofing book. At some point I might put together a siding book, depending on the demand for it. But well, Steve, this has been really good. I'm happy to meet you 36 minutes ago.
Well, I'm happy to meet you as well. I'm a longtime listener. I've been listening for the last couple of years to the podcast, and then when it came across that I had an opportunity to actually be on it, I thought absolutely that would be cool because, like I said, it's one I enjoy listening to.
Awesome. So great. I wish you continued success. Thank you for being here. And again, to everybody that is listening, make sure, if you haven't done so already, go get a copy of the 7 Secrets to Becoming a Wealthy Contractor. It's guaranteed. I bought the book. Just pay shipping and handling. If for any reason whatsoever you don't like the book, just let me know. I'll keep the book and I'll send you your money back. But it's an important book. Get it in your hands. Go through it. And I think it'll make a real difference in your business and in your life. So until next time, this is Brian Kaskavalsian with G4 Marketing Group, and this is the Wealthy Contractor Podcast.
All right, so that's it for today's episode of the Wealthy Contractor Podcast. Let me ask you, did it help you look at your business in a new way? Did it spark an idea or ideas you hadn't thought of before? Do you have a list of action items that you can take and implement into your business or your life today? I really hope so. Now, before you go, make sure you subscribe to the Wealthy Contractor Podcast so you get access to the latest episodes as soon as they're available. We're always striving to provide you with great content, so you don't want to miss what's coming up. And a favor, I'd really appreciate it if you'd go to iTunes and post a review of this podcast. Let us know how we're doing. The Wealthy Contractor Podcast is brought to you by G4 Marketing Group, where we help contractors of all kinds create customers, keep customers, and multiply their customers and profits. If you're interested in reaching new levels of success for your company, visit www.gfourmarketing.com or just call us at 305-856-8788 to schedule your free, no obligation, Wealthy Contractor Strategy Session. Now, during this strategy session, we're going to look at 8 key performance factors in your business, and we're going to help you uncover opportunities for growth, for leads, for sales, and for profit. And finally, we started the Wealthy Contractor as a resource to help you, the home improvement entrepreneur, regardless of where you are on the wealthy scale, get where you want to go. We want to provide you with the motivation, the confidence, the resources, and the tools so you too can live the life of the wealthy contractor. Now, the wealthy contractor is a place where it's okay for you to want it all. In fact, it's not only okay, it's encouraged. So until next time, this is Brian Kaskavalcian with G4 Marketing Group.